Welcome to day 25 of Reset, Restart, Refocus. So weight can be a very, very fickle thing. Some days you're up, some days you're down. Sometimes when you're up, you know why you're up, because yesterday morning I was up and I knew why, and so it didn't bother me too much even though it was over a pound. And some days you're down and you have no idea why or what you did differently. It's just the way the game is played. So it's just really funny how that works out. Anyway, I was just kind of thinking about that today. Weighing every day is not something that I always do. I do it pretty often, but right now I'm doing it just for the sake of the vlog and kind of keeping myself accountable. Because if my weight goes way up, something happened the day before. There is no doubt about that. So anyway, let's get into the weigh-in today. Okay, so as you can see, I was 175.2. Yeah, I'm down the 1.2 pounds that I had gained the night before. So I just kind of evened out. But still, it's been several days since I've seen a real loss. And I'd really like to get under 174.8 before Saturday. That'd be nice. But speaking of Saturday, I just want to say that I was looking at my calendar and counting the days that I've been doing this vlog, and I don't think I'm going to do my weekly weigh-in this Saturday. I am going to weigh in and show you what I weigh, but I was going to do the progress pictures and measurements and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to save that for Monday, and the reason I'm going to do that on Monday is because Saturday is day 28 and Monday will be day 30. And I really wanted to do my measurements and my pictures every 30 days. So be looking for that on Monday instead of Saturday. Some days I think it's going to be, the numbers are going to be really, really good as far as my measurements go. And sometimes I think my pictures are going to look a lot different. It's only been 30 days, so it's not going to be that different. I mean, I've lost 6 pounds. You're not going to see a big difference in my body with 6 pounds. But you could, because a lot of people, they lose weight, they don't lose weight, but they lose inches, and maybe that's what's happening to my body. So I'm not going to, thinking about it in a negative way. It is what it is. I mean, I'm staying on plan, I'm doing well, and it's going to take some time for my body to adjust. And sometimes, like this morning, I was thinking, boy, it'd just be nice if I could wear some of those clothes in my closet that I was wearing before that I gained back this little bit of weight. And I just can't do it right now. But, the weight didn't come on overnight. It was several months of off and on, and gaining that weight back. So I can't expect for it to happen in 30 days. Or maybe even 60 days. I don't know. We'll see. But there's some cute things in my closet that I really want to start wearing again. And so I look at them, and it really makes me want to do better and just keep on trucking. I just don't see myself going backwards anymore. I just feel so good right now, and I'm doing so well. So anyway, that's enough about that. So just like I said yesterday, I didn't do my ketones, and I didn't do my blood glucose, and so I'll do that again on Monday, just to kind of keep on track with that. So anyway, I guess you're wondering, yeah, I know you're sitting there wondering, Lisa, what did you eat today? All right, well, here you go. Okay, so it's 11:15 and I'm breaking my fast with these 5 pepperoni and cheese roll-ups. Okay, so it's 11:45 and I'm going to have a bunless burger with some pepper jack cheese and a slice of bacon on it. I'm going to have some of these little baby dill pickles and some pork rinds with my homemade ranch. Okay, so are you thinking I had fish cakes again? I didn't. So I had the pepperoni and cheese, and to break my fast, and then a half an hour later I had a bunless burger, and oh my goodness, it was so good. I might add another piece of cheese onto that. I think it would be better because it's such a thick burger. I just think another piece of cheese would be really, really good. So I'm going to try that tomorrow and see. I still got some pepper jack in my refrigerator that I could use up. But anyway, cheeseburgers is one of my favorite things of all time. And so I'm just happy that anything that is my favorite food, I can eat it. I can eat it in a different way, but I can have it. And it just makes me happy that, the food on keto is just so good. I was thinking about that today. How many diets have I ever been on where I could sit there and eat a burger and have some pork rinds on the side, have some pickles, and just enjoy my food? That's never happened until I found keto. That's a fact. Even when I did Atkins for about a year, maybe a year and a half, I didn't enjoy the food as much. And so, I didn't have as many options back then as well. I didn't have internet, and a lot of things that good ideas that you get from other people. And with the internet and YouTube and Facebook and all these other websites and everything else, you can get some really good ideas from other people. So I really think that the internet has been good in that way. We're just spreading the love, aren't we? Alright, so anyway, that's enough about that too. Alright, so let's get on with part 3 of my rapid fat burning video. And today we're going to talk about protein. Alright, so according to Dr. Berg, he feels, and I've heard this in many videos that he's done, you should have 3 to 6 ounces of protein per meal. And it kind of averages out to about 5 ounces or so. So he's considering if you're eating 3 meals a day, and when you start keto, that's what you're doing. You're having 3 meals a day. So he's just kind of saying, have your, 3 to 6 ounces of protein, and then you'll be good. But then no snacks in between. But what you really should be doing to really get the fat burning a lot faster is to work in intermittent fasting. Well, intermittent fasting, if you don't know, is when you have a small eating window for the day, and then you fast for a prolonged period of time. So the most popular fasting is 16 hours fasting, 8 hours of eating. And that's a great way to start out. And then as you go down, as the days go by, and the weeks go by, and the months go by, you're kind of closing up that window a little more to maybe 18 hours. A lot of people do the 18-6. That's very popular. So you have your first meal, and you're finished eating at the end of the 6 hours. Well, when I started keto, and I started doing intermittent fasting, I actually started out at 16 hours fasting because it just was so easy for me, because I don't eat late at night, hardly ever at all. I mean, I know I did the other night, but I try not to. And so when you finish your meal at 4 or 5 o'clock, and you're full from your meal for that night, and then you go to bed, and you wake up, and you get ready for the day, and you go to work, and before you know it, it's lunchtime. And for me, that was a very simple way of fasting. Well, the last couple of weeks, my body is just kind of adjusting. I've had very high ketones, and I'm in strong ketosis right now, and I really feel like my body is well on its way to being fat adapted, if it's not already fat adapted. And so I've been doing 1 meal a day, which means that I eat around 11 or 12 o'clock. It really depends on when I get my break at work. I don't get my break at work every day at the same time. So, in between that 1 hour or so, I get an hour break. I'll eat my meal within that hour, and then I don't have any more food. And it's worked out really well for me as long as I stay on track. I mean, last weekend I didn't do really well with the intermittent fasting, and so, you know, the weight hasn't really gone down too much, but I don't think that's intermittent fasting's fault, and I don't think it's keto's fault. I think it's my fault for not sticking with the intermittent fasting protocol. So I've been doing it, you know, what's today, Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and so we'll see what happens in the next several days as far as that goes. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling, huh? I don't usually do a lot of that. So anyway, you close your window up to 2 meals a day. And so he says to have 7 ounces of protein per meal. And then the more you squeeze your window, if you want to squeeze it up a little bit more like I did and have an OMAD, then you're having 9 ounces of protein per meal. And I'm getting that easily, 9 ounces of protein per meal. Okay, so here are the proteins that he says are the best for rapid fat burning. Number 1 is eggs. Now you would have to eat a lot of eggs. If you're doing an OMAD, 9 ounces of protein, you would have to eat a lot of eggs if that was your only protein, because he says there's 1 ounce of protein per egg. So I would have to have 9 eggs. And I don't like eggs that much. I mean, I don't like eggs enough to eat them every day. But have some eggs, 1 ounce of 1 ounce of protein per egg. So his next top protein to eat is hamburger. And he says that hamburger is probably one of the best keto meats that you can eat. And the reason for that is because of the fat content in it. And so I'm going to tell you what he says about protein versus fat. He says that the fattier the meat that you eat, the fattier the protein is, the lower your insulin spike is. So when you're eating leaner proteins, your insulin spike is actually going to go up more. So that was kind of good news to me, because I love ground beef. Ground beef is one of my favorite things, and you know that because I eat it like almost every day in different ways. I cook a lot of ground beef, and it's not so much because it's inexpensive, because it is. It's just because I enjoy it, and there's 1,000 different ways that you can eat ground beef. Okay, so the next top protein that he says to eat is pork. And pork and lamb are very, very high in vitamin B1. And if you're insulin resistant, vitamin B1 is very, very good to help heal your insulin resistance. Now, I don't think I had insulin resistance, or at least not very much, like compared to other people. But yeah, eat your bacon. Vitamin B1, it's good for you. Okay, so the next one in line is steak. That's funny that he says hamburger, pork, and then steak. But with steak, it's very, very hard to tell how much fat you're actually getting, because all you're getting is the marbling of the fat. And if you don't like the big chunky pieces of fat and you're cutting that off, then you're really not getting very much fat. And that's why a lot of people put butter on top of their steaks. For one, it keeps it moist, and for another thing, it makes the fat content higher. Oh, you know what? Talking about butter and steak, one of my favorite things to do, and I'm sure a lot of you like it too, is to saute some mushrooms in some butter and pour that over your steak with the butter and everything. Oh, that is so, so good. All right. So next on the list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 is fish. And so he put fish pretty low on the scale because most fishes are very, very lean. And you would have to add quite a bit of fat in order to make your fat ratio higher than your protein ratio. And the same thing with seafood, like you know, shrimp and crab and things like that. You have to add a lot of fat to those for your fat versus protein ratio to be high. And that's what he was saying, is you really want your fat ratio to be higher than your protein ratio and your proteins to keep your insulin spike from going too high. So the things that he says not to have is chicken. Even chicken thighs don't have enough fat. The fat to protein ratio is not very high. Turkey and protein powder. Well, we don't really advocate using protein powder too much because it's way better to get your protein from your food. And then one other thing that he says, and this will wrap it up, is if you drink a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, put some apple cider vinegar in some water with a little bit of like whatever you like to make it taste better, and just kind of down it just before you eat your meal, it helps you to digest the protein better. And I didn't know that. So there's two takeaways from this fat video that I learned, or from the protein video that I learned. Number one, the fattier the meat, the less the insulin spike is going to be. And number two, if you drink a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before you eat your protein, then it's going to help you to digest it better. So I'm going to try that. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to start, I'm just going to put some apple cider vinegar in a little cup with some water, and I'm going to drink it and see if that kind of helps me out a little bit more. We'll see. It's worth a try, right? I mean, I've got a ton of apple cider vinegar in my kitchen. I might as well be using it. All right, so that's the skinny on I was going to say the skinny on fat, but the skinny on protein. So tomorrow is the last part to this episode, this series, and we'll talk about fat. We'll find out what he says as far as fat goes to put yourself into rapid fat burning mode. All right? Okay. So anyway, that's all that I have for you today. So until tomorrow, keep calm and keto on.